soothing the sound of silence.
Welcome to another episode of Otaku Evolution. I'm Penguin Truth. Please like, subscribe, and contribute to the Patreon. This week I'll be doing a good old-fashioned blow-by-blow of the second Silent Möbius movie. If you recall, I covered the first one in my first year of this show. Good luck finding that video. If you don't recall, well... Katsumi Liqueur is a woman who has inherited special powers from her mystic mother and father. An organization called the AMP tried to recruit her to fight demonic creatures called Lucifer Hawk, but she isn't interested. Her mother ends up sacrificing her life to save Katsumi from a Lucifer Hawk, and then Katsumi is super not interested in joining the AMP because she blames them. And now I've told you everything that happened in the first movie. Scintillating, right? Well, the second movie sees Katsumi still reeling from the death of her mother. Lebia, an AMP officer, gives her the magic book her father left her, but it just upsets her. Katsumi wants out of Tokyo and away from its bad memories ASAP, but finds that she can't leave because her ID has been changed. Indignant, she goes down to the AMP headquarters to give the chief, Raleigh, an earful over it. The chief still wants her to join the organization, but as usual, Katsumi storms off in a huff. There are reluctant heroes, and then there's Katsumi Liqueur. Granted, she's been through a lot, but she could try giving things a shot instead of acting petulant. While sitting in a cafe... bar? Whatever, her suitcase is stolen by a thief, leaving her to give chase, but the guy is beaten up by an AMP officer, Kitty, who's joined by Nami. They've obviously been following her and she's not happy about it. But suddenly, something happens, and building debris hurts people, including burying a child. Katsumi can't handle this and runs off. Well, apparently she ran so far away, and she ran all night and day, couldn't get away, because she's still running at night until she collapses and loses consciousness, seeing a vision of her mother with herself as a baby. Then she wakes up in her bra, cared for by a woman in only a towel. Nothing suggestive there. The young woman that picked Katsumi up is Yuki Saiko. She tells Katsumi that she's had a strong premonition that the two of them would be co-workers and friends sometime in the future. Katsumi dismisses this, having had enough of supernatural crap for a lifetime.
Katsumi, get away from this lady. She's a little nutty.
Meanwhile, Raleigh and Lebia cruise around in a flying limo, like you do, when they're suddenly attacked by... something that causes them to crash. It turns out to be a Lucifer Hawk, but Raleigh isn't intimidated. Lebia is subdued by another of the Lucifer Hawk. Raleigh manages to scare them off, though. The next morning, Katsumi tries to make tracks without telling Yuki, but ends up at breakfast with her, after which she says goodbye and is identified by Kitty and Nami, who are looking for her. Katsumi takes a morning train going anywhere, but is still followed by Yuki. She tries to warn Yuki off as she feels she's bad luck, but Yuki insists on sticking with her. Back at AMP HQ, footage of Yuki is examined, and she's identified as part of a government project that used genetic enhancement of brainwaves. So I guess she isn't just a crazy stalker. While on the outskirts of town with Yuki, Katsumi gets a sudden sense of familiarity about the bridge across the way. She eventually encounters her childhood house, where she lived with her mother. Yuki warns her not to go inside, but stubbornly, Katsumi doesn't listen. Inside, Katsumi finds a letter addressed to her mom from her dad. He mentions that he will probably be killed by the Lucifer Hawk, and that Katsumi has inherited powers from the two of them. That's when Katsumi encounters a girl and an older man. The two are, of course, Lucifer Hawk in disguise. Why they bothered with the disguises is beyond me. When Kitty and Nami make it to the house, Yuki tells them that Katsumi went in, but when Kitty charges in, she finds that Katsumi's gone. Well, it seems like the Lucifer Hawk, who've taken Katsumi to the broken bridge, intend to, I don't know, sacrifice her? They intend to bring over more of their kind from their realm, which is called Nemesis.
Do you know what nemesis means? A righteous infliction of retribution manifested by an appropriate agent. Personified in this case by a horrible cunt. Me.
Katsumi is, at this point, done with everything, not even resisting, but the cavalry arrives in the form of Kitty and Nami. Yuki manages to get Katsumi into one of AMP's flying vehicles, and everyone clears out so that Libya can use a satellite laser weapon. Yeah, we're talking about Bubblegum Crisis level weaponry here, which destroys one of the Lucifer Hawk. However, the other one is still around, and it eats the other one? Anyway, now's as good a time as ever to discover that Kitty is some kind of cyborg, as she faces down the combined Lucifer Hawk, but is ultimately no match for it. Nami tries taking it on next, but she doesn't fare any better. Things aren't looking good for old Katsumi, who the Lucifer Hawk plans on taking to unlock the gate to Nemesis. But she's finally fed up with the Lucifer Hawk and decides to fight back.
This can't be happening!
Adamarkto, Ve Kapura, Ve Dadura, Aurum, Amen! Let all evil that this light shines upon be purified!
For her first time using magic, Katsumi is aces, finally vanquishing the Lucifer Hawk. So, of course, this calls for a flash forward to Katsumi suiting up as an AMP officer. Yuki is also hired. And the fight against the Lucifer Hawk continues more or less. The end. Wait, the end? That's it? Actually, it says to be continued after the credits, but no, it's not. The Silent Möbius television series that came out years later rebooted the continuity from scratch, so this two-part origin story of how Katsumi first came to work at the AMP is entirely ignored, making the two movies basically entirely pointless. But don't worry, the TV series also ends without finality, so it's like Silent Möbius is just addicted to setups that go nowhere. It's a little frustrating because I want to see a group of magic and tech-using cops taking on interdimensional monsters throughout Tokyo. This was obviously intended to be an origin story, but don't you think there could have been a few more of those Lucifer Hawk? Apparently just 2 was enough to nearly kill everyone, though, so perhaps not. There's not enough of Kitty, the resident badass. Yuki is a complete waste because Katsumi just does as she pleases without heeding any premonitions, and Katsumi herself is just a black hole of charisma. Well, maybe I need to watch the TV show to get what I want out of this franchise. But not anytime soon, I'm telling you. Next time, we return to another franchise we've been to before as we tackle 2 more episodes of the Blackjack OVA. I hope they're a little more interesting. Until then, see ya!
What the? Kitty, don't drop your garbage in here. Huh? Nami! What the hell's wrong with you? Oh, stop it! That's enough!